We should play some. Oh, I didn't figure out how to play music.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I
That's
kind
my
of did
fault.
the changes, but I was just about to tell you, did you have that little, but you know what, there's this animation that you showed me the other day.
I love it. I'm gonna have to see. Did you put it in here? I think I saw.
No.
So I saw something else.
No, no, no. There was these drums, da, 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 but
Oh yeah,
I don't know whether it's on your end because I can't see it.
yeah. Let me see.
Oh, I see what
No,
the market does. There you
I
go.
magic. There we go. The drums.
Da, da.
Those? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that was it.
We got the
I
mic
still do
drop.
not know how to do music, so
We'll figure it
let's
out.
let's pretend we are actually getting better. We are
We
aware.
are. We are aware. We are getting better. What are you talking about?
We are aware.
We're not
Uh,
scripted anymore.
mm-hmm. That too.
We're comfortable. We're more comfortable being live.
That too. Mm-hmm. We're
I
following
think
the agenda.
that's
Have you
true.
noticed?
We're yeah, and we're following the agenda, and we're um, slowly but surely doing it within time, right?
Mm-hmm. That too.
So yeah, I think we're getting nothing
Oh,
but getting better.
mm-hmm. Exactly.
So all right, that's it's in the name, the growth cycle series.
Mm-hmm.
We're growing with it. We're growing with you guys. All right.
That's
So
true.
this month we're talking about software development pitfalls and their ROI. We'll be talking about some emerging tech like AI, master governance and risk management and compliance. That sounds boring.
It will be. That's next week or in two
So
weeks.
there you go. We got some time to
I
figure
will
out how to
think
make it
about how
fun.
to make. I will think about how to make it a little bit more amusing. Although there's nothing amusing about compliance and
We'll make it.
innovation, but
There is. I find it amusing. I like reading it. I
mm-hmm.
like why do they feel like writing that, and why did they write it that way, and then you start to like go down those rabbit holes, and um and there's some interesting stories behind them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting for me. It's like who messed up bad enough.
that you had to put this in. What? Yeah.
Yeah, that you had to make a whole rule about it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the common sense stuff, right? Like there's some stuff that that's completely makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got to secure people's data. But then there's like, okay, but it has to be in this certain way. Like when you start reading the details, you're like,
Hmm.
what happened?
Yeah,
What's the
that
history
makes
here?
sense.
But
Your
y-
your imagination.
uh,
That's what happens.
that's what happens. I start creating an imagination and stories of how what would make them want to make this stuff, and I just make it up.
There you go.
Which goes into a good sales talk because he was like, you know why they did that, right?
Yes.
And then they nobody knows whether I'm making it up or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm joking. No, it's all
Anyway,
true.
this is happy hour techno talks. Other than why we would be able to make amusing any of the compliance topics, we will try.
Yes, but you know the technical. You know what are the techno? Man, that's gonna be some getting. We're gonna need some getting used to this. EB DevTech's Happy Hour Techno Talks.
Techno talks.
Techno Talks. And we
Mm-hmm.
should say every time we say techno, it should like play techno music somewhere.
To do, to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ooh, that'd be cool for the office. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
um, so got some questions about IT. This is a session where everyone can bring their questions. You can ask about new tips, or we can just talk about the best tech solutions for your challenges or for your business. Um, and it all comes. It's all free. It's all between 11:30 to 12:30 that we do this time for you guys. And our reason to do it is, we want to make the world a better place, one solution at a time. So let's talk tech. This is what we talked about last time. We talked about AI from macro level and how it works, and it's all statistics, right? I sent out a meme where
Uh,
like it's a character with a mask on, and
mhm.
there's another character that says, "Hey, it's us, it's the human." It's like it had a mask and it said machine learning across the mask, and the human says, "Hey, why are you wearing that mask?" And then they start to lift the mask up and it says statistics, and then they're like, nope, let's put that mask back on. um,
Exactly. Yeah.
we're calling you machine learning, so now
Yeah.
that's the whole joke, is that machine learning is just a mask of statistics,
Mhm.
for statistics.
It was just a
um,
pretty little word
oh, did we lose you, Laura? Oh, you you lagged out there for a little bit for me.
yeah.
All right, so today we're going to talk about understanding um, everyday life in AI, right? How you use it as a personal assistant in social media, everything else. And then some AI frameworks, and how do you choose the right ones? There's a lot of open source frameworks out there, a lot of commercial ones as well. And kind of, I'll talk some bit of our experience and kind of how we would like to do things as well, and then some challenges of AI for the future. AI in everyday life.
Yeah.
There's
So,
actually, there's robots that dance like this that mimic the users, right? Like that's how they
mhm.
train. That this is the reinforcement learning from last time as to how to get that robot to do it, right?
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it in movies. This is the thing. It's almost as if we've seen it for 20 years now. We're just seeing it how it was made. But you're not fooling anyone. And I loved uh, I love talking about I mean, I love researching about how the industry has changed gaming. I thought that was pretty cool. I've been out of I mean, I don't know anything about gaming other than I played Zelda 14 years ago. So I wouldn't know, right? You just leave behind all of these other things that you used to do on your daily life, and suddenly, boom, this is just boom.
It
So
was different.
yes, I thought that was super cool. And then and then here, the application of the AI, you have smarter NPCs, and so your interaction as a player with them is like, finally, those guys, they're bumping on walls.
Yeah, they're not.
I thought,
I
I
can't
thought
take
that was
advantage of them by just jumping between two pillars.
exactly. Oh gosh. Anyway,
Oh god. So yeah, I mean, I use AI a lot. It's now part of my personal workflow when it comes to explaining things to my kids, because it's like we're moving so fast, we do things so fast, we're trying, and then when you have kids, incorporating them into your timeline as well, right? And um, I, I have a 6-year-old, and so how do I explain it to a six? How do What was the question she asked me the other day? It's like, what's adventure? And it's like these very like you know what these are, but it's like, how do you explain it to a 6-year-old, right? Like
yeah,
how adventure, and usually I used to just make up stories to capture the experience of what
of
it
the
is.
word.
Yeah. And I use AI to help me get there faster, right? Because before I'd be like thinking about it, like, okay, I have to think about it and go through that, like that thought process. But now it's just like, hey, explain adventure to a 6 year old. And then it like just has examples and it's elaborate um, and it's fun. And so,
That's
um,
a really nice application. I bet a lot of parents are. Like I'm not sure I've even allowed to just go off the little margin that we might have of IT, but you know how kids are just growing in a different world and they're asking the funniest questions to moms. And and guess what this kid would be asking mom if they said, "Mom, why do you have a bird?" I thought that was hilarious. Maybe I just leave that for later. We can't really be discussing that now.
I don't even know what you're talking about, Laura. I'm like,
Exactly.
I'm
Let's
asking the question. What did you say?
let's pretend she didn't ask that. But I
So
mean, from that funny to even the most difficult, right? Like griefing or just the serious stuff. I think
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, personal use, some scheduling task and some task automations. Hey, play music or play this, right? If you have those
Yeah,
home
they've
assistants,
been around.
yep, for some time. Social media, right? Trying, the recommendations and the Facebook algorithms. With social media, their algorithms are designed to keep you engaged, right? They get paid through ads. That's how they make the majority of their money is through ads, and so um, that's why you see like you'll have two videos and then an ad and then stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And so they want to show you things that you like to see, these short little videos, because they can hit you with those little micro ads as well, that you'll wait the
Mm-hmm.
10 seconds. And so now um, that's how they make money, right? So that's their recommendation algorithms, and that's why social media is powerful, right? Because it's selling you what you like, but it's also selling you, selling to you
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. So that's the trade there, for your time. So finance, healthcare, communications. So this is more risk analysis, more decision making, um, um, fraud detection in the banking system. Right? Hey, this is an anomaly, as we spoke about it last week,
The
last time.
pattern recognition of that. Yep.
Yep, yep, the
Mm-hmm.
pattern recognition. And then, yeah, so any type of assisted diagnostics that doctors and patients, for doctors and patients. Um, so, yeah, a lot more. Again, right? AI is supposed to help us get to a conclusion faster. Just like I said, the story with my daughter, right? I know how to do it. I know how to come up with a story and explain a word. I can go look up the definition and okay, well, how would I word this to a 6 year old and do it myself? But
Mm-hmm.
it's the acceleration of that where we're spending more time playing video games than me teaching her how to read adventure, right?
That's true. Now, the good side of all of these is the actual exposure that now kids have been having for from the human perspective. Because, and then this is where I'm not a parent, but I've always kind of, would this be criticism maybe or a judgment when parents just leave their kids to their devices.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, that's a whole experience, right? You grow up with devices. In my I'm a little bit older, not too old, but this exposure wasn't like that. And uh, but parents have the chance to do it differently now.
Yeah. It's all attention, right? What can keep what can keep my kids' attention. Um, so yeah, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. I
Who's right?
know.
We don't know yet because this
We
is
don't know.
they're the first ones, right? I guess we'll
Yeah.
figure that out in
In
about 10
let's
to 20
let's
years.
do 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, in the next 10 to 20 years, we'll find out what happens, and we'll be able to study it. But it's like we're still collecting the data now.
Mhm.
Yeah, at least from my just to give my 2 cents, like I try to. I don't since I don't know what the answer is because this is the first time this has
Mhm.
happened in human history. Um, is to just try to keep a balance of it. It's like I don't want to not have my child have that experience because it is the future, right?
Mhm.
Technology, AI, this stuff is only going to get more involved in what we do and how we do things. So I want her to play video games. I want her to be able to use these tablet apps and stuff like that and start starting to feel for the experience, right? As to how that user experience is. Um, but at the same time, I want her to understand the foundations of life as to like really, if do we need technology? I mean, we've lived almost a couple billion years without it, right? So um, I would say that there's more to know than yes, but does it make life more convenient, and does it allow for us to survive in a more efficient manner and stuff like that? So it's it's kind of getting to that point where it's like, well, we can't turn back. Nobody's going to want to do things the way it's been done before,
Yeah. No. It's
and
well.
nobody wants to
Some
ride a horse to 33 miles anymore
some some.
to go to work.
Uh, I read this comment on Twitter about I don't want to do it. Let's go back to analog. I think when I thought about it for a second, I do feel kind of like in the middle of that thought because some things just they have to continue in a way that would create, the good that we've been doing in a manual way. But a system is not necessarily going to portray reality either.
Right.
Yeah, so is
Well, I
mhm.
argue that too because we are also. I think of everything as systems. Like we ourselves, we are a
We are a
system as an
system.
organism,
Yeah.
right? And so
Mhm.
we each one of us, and it's called perspective, right? We each
Mhm.
interpret reality from our perspective.
Yeah.
Um, so in a way, it's oh, it's always a question of who what's the perspective, and that's what makes society, right? The number of folks that have the same type of perspective, then that's kind of the one that society is going to go, right? If we're going into a future, but
Yeah. Well, everything is about perspective and attitude. Because this is
humans,
yeah, because you know what, talking about how AI has changed e-commerce, I thought um I know that people do neglect their financial decisions on, you know, kind of um how would you call it, like impulsive
right?
uh you know e-commerce, like maybe you don't need this, there's just too much of that you already own that you shouldn't be getting more, and then there's there's that thing that makes it so personalized that now it just it kind of create this thing of how nice this store is making me go back to them, but I don't need it anymore. But what if I was weaker? you know, What if I would tend to not have the self control to not create that impulsive behavior? Like that self awareness is critical because then you could detrimentally, use yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I love it, and I love it more than I hate it, but it's still a little bit, um
Are you
how do you
having
call it?
existential dilemma here?
Yeah. It is like how that's why I put the word ethically, because in every little space in which I was reading about AI, there were, the challenges.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're mainly discussing now, because now it's more of ev- the people that have been working on it, on AI and building it, have, they've had to think about this because they've been building it, right? So they've been
Hmm.
this has been on their mind for a really long time. And for the most of us, it's like, oh yeah, AI. And then up until a few years ago, it's like, okay, AI is starting to be something now. It's time to pay attention to it. So hey, how now a lot more people are having the same conversation. It's not a new conversation. The
Hmm.
pioneers of it have been thinking about it for some time, and they have some ideas as to how they would like to see that play out. But it's just, are we listening to them, right? Are we taking in their considerations, because they have been thinking about this a lot longer than we have. So we should at least listen to them and 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 provide feedback, right? Peer review. That's all it is. So, what if AI took care of the repetitive tasks you could focus on?
So
So you can, I can't read.
yeah, and I had to made it this complicated, I guess. Sorry.
No, no, no,
So,
that's on me. I've been in meetings all morning. So what if AI took care of the repetitive tasks so you could focus on what truly matters? So moving next. So some frameworks. So how to choose an AI framework that fits your business.
hmm, based on
Um,
what?
yeah, this is probably a hard decision right now, because the frameworks are literally being built. So none of
Changing.
them, yeah, they're changing. None of them are truly, um, we don't know which one's the state of the art one, right? Because it's all state of the art
Hmm.
because they didn't exist. They existed before, but there's not as many as the ones that are. There's not as many new ones. There's a lot of new for AI frameworks now. Um, and again, right? What did we talk about a couple of weeks ago? What was that episode? Which episode was about frameworks?
That could have been episode.
Like 8 or 9. Let me see.
Oh no, that was recently.
Yeah, it's, oh, you're right. It's like 14 or 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was through the mastering, when we were.
Anyways, we
Mm-hmm.
have an episode on it.
Episode 16, I think. We
Okay.
developed a little bit more.
All right.
Now,
So let's take a look at 16.
I did put on uh, the two examples, and just in the next slide, which basically does gives the comprehension of, at least the reasons, the community help of the benefit of open source AI. Now is just, I mean, you get tons of resources, um, tons of resources though, right? But it's not like every time that you come up with that one new question, it's not necessarily going to have the answer. It will take you a lot to go through documentation, right? So that's one drawback, the limited support. And unless you're like a real expert, um, complexity can, you know, suck all your time. It's just,
Well, I think complexity, it doesn't matter which one you choose. It's always going to be a problem. Complexity is always a problem.
it's always going to be a
Um,
problem. What do you
yeah.
mean? Like neither
um,
of them.
yeah, I would say it's a drawback for both of them,
Mm,
because it just depends on how complex it really is. Um, the the open source, and the really big difference for me, it's like the commercial AI is frameworks aren't as different as the open source one, because they're like literally the open source version of the commercial one. Right, they're a commercial version of the open source version,
mm-hmm.
and right now they're all really close in functionality and and kind of the benefits, right? um, Now, where commercial frameworks are a little bit better is truly because of the dedicated support team, right? If you or your company is kind of newer to that whole AI space and the machine learning and stuff like that, then a support team is important, right? That can some guidance is extremely important. Um, so that's where the commercial AI it's if they provide that in their service, right? If part of the support team can help you in using their framework to build what you're looking for, then that's definitely a huge benefit of commercial AI, because at the end of the day, you just want some guidance to point you in the right direction to get the
Mm-hmm.
task that you want to get done. Um, but yeah, usually commercial, it's commercial, right? So you're going to pay for it. And so you got to make sure you're making the right relationships with those frameworks, and because those frameworks are so competitive right now, how can you know that you're choosing the right one
Mm-hmm.
for the future?
Mm-hmm.
um, so from our perspective, we use a lot. So the only commercial frameworks we would use are like large cloud platform frameworks, that live within those cloud platforms like Google, Azure, AWS. From our perspective, and then from there we can leverage open source AI inside of that framework, right? So we get the best of both worlds, um, and yeah, that way complexity doesn't matter. If we meet
Mm-hmm.
complexity, we're gonna be able to fix it regardless, from because
Yep.
we're using the best of both worlds.
Yes. That combination really does results into being wise and smart about the budgeting. So fair enough.
We do everything from a cost perspective first, and then we work backwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
We work from the future to the present. What's our end goal? All right, what do we have to do to get there?
Mm-hmm. True.
So how does this apply to you?
Yeah, we just told them. Basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it depends on your specific needs, and you want to make sure that everything aligns with your goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's really that's really the best case there. You have to have a good team, have I like I've been saying, a good team, and a good just someone that understands the broad scope of the entire industry and the direction that it's going to go.
Correct.
Blah, that's a lot of text.
Mm-hmm.
So challenges of AI. So data related challenges, right? So what is AI? All it is machine learning on statistics, which is, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all just statistics.
But
So it's all
here,
data.
yeah, but here there was I'm not sure why I didn't put it, but there was a really good phrase about quality over quantity. Yeah, high quality it says. But
For AI, you need both. So you need high
mhm.
quality data in high amounts, so high
Mhm.
volume. So very good. But that's the data related challenges. I would say would be the core challenges because with bad data you get bad results. Um,
Yes.
but you need both. You need examples of bad. You need examples of good, and so you just need
Bad
all the
AI.
data. You just need all the data so that that's where you can differentiate between good and bad, and make sure that it's providing you the right um, responses. Ethical concerns, very important because all of the ethical concerns goes to the trainer, right? Of who's training the the model.
Mhm.
So they might think that they're a balanced person, but they're training from their perspective, and all humans are somewhat
Mhm.
biased. So um,
Mhm. This is
that's
this is
where,
where you know how the other day we mentioned something about the complexity of who's responsible for when
yes,
AI is
you are.
involved, but then at the end of the day, we're feeding the data, so
Yeah,
someone
you
is
know, a
responsible.
human is always responsible,
Of course.
um, even in AI. This is why I don't think that like Skynet or stuff like that won't necessarily happen because it's because of this, right? Because of this ethical concern and the human and how the human is involved in that.
Hmm. Like very complex. That's why I put
Correct.
hot topic, and I had to put the five. Sorry, so
No,
listed.
no worries. Regulatory and legal challenges, trying to figure
Hmm.
out how that, and that keeps changing. So you do something today, you might not be able to do it the same way tomorrow. Um,
Hmm.
and that happens even outside of AI. So it's not a specific challenge to AI. It happens in every industry.
Hmm. Yeah.
The bias and transparency, the scalability and integration. So, yeah, I think the bias and transparency goes back to ethical concerns, and then the scalability and integration. So, uh, yeah, you can build a great AI, but how are people going to use it? That
Hmm.
should have been a thought of that project. What's in the future for you? The future is very complicated. It's always been complicated.
I like this question though. Was AI ever simple? No. We
No,
we are. I mean, we created AI. We aren't simple at all. So I had to
you know,
over here a reminder of what AI is. It will not replace. It's
yeah. Well, I mean, you can categorize everything, and you have artificial intelligence and you have human intelligence, and both of those are literal subset of intelligence. Like, what is intelligence, right? So you can replace. That's why I think like you can replace this question: was intelligence ever simple, right? Um, and it works, right? A kind reminder that the things intelligence will not replace, right? Any type of intelligence will not replace emotional intelligence, critical thinking, adaptability, flexibility, your leadership and social influence. Like, it won't replace you as a soul, as a as someone that's driven by something, right? You're motivated by something, not just motivated because you've been triggered to do a task, right? So that's the that's the reminder here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good question. How would you do it, Laura?
Um, I did put one of my favorite, which is the strategic planning, but to me has always been kind of like, well, I think this is an engineer principle, right? You always have to question is just one of the stepping stones of every methodology that we learn. So you always have to do it with a critical and perspective, because what you see from one side, the other one can see from another. So it really does depends on who are we being involved with. I mean, if it's for me, my productivity with AI has been successfully. I just love the way that everything just connects and engages with me in a way that I'm feeling more productive. In the weight of the social media, I'm not so keen for all of these sign up buttons that I have to be fed with in social, because it's supposed to be a platform for other stuff. But it's my perspective, right? I know that business are trying to do their best over there to grow, so obviously that's a fair game. Um, so it's just about thinking critically
Yeah, be human.
and respect, exactly, and just there's a reason why you don't navigate, it's a preference too. I rather have a lot more purchases done, in a place to place perspective, and that's just me and my personality. But I know a lot of people feel comfortable with buying online, and I just can't do that. I do some of it, of course, but not much. So it's just me. So the same way that every other person would be with their own decisions.
Yeah, it's just be proact. Just get a proactive approach to those challenges and begin with
Hmm.
strategic planning.
Yeah, I like the word proactive. I put it on the other slide. Did
Yeah,
you?
just figure out what the future is already. Just
Yeah,
be proactive.
you are an AI, literally. Oh, was it here? No, I don't
Who
know
is
where I put
accountable when an AI
proactive.
system makes a mistake?
There's
You
not
are
a
the
really
human.
good answer to this question, right?
The human.
The human, yes, but then the monitoring. See, what has come to, like, to for everyone that is trying to learn AI is that we are feeding this data to AI. So we just need to continuously monitor what we give them
Exactly.
and use it for the best.
Put that data to work.
Mm-hmm. True.
In the next section, we will talk about how AI is changing industries. And then later this month, we'll talk about IT governance framework and we're going to make it fun.
Hopefully.
All
Hopefully
right,
we make
guys.
it fun.
All right. Do we have any questions? Let's see. Nope, nothing. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can send it to us. Um, you can comment on any portion of this recording and let us know your thoughts. You can email us at info@ebdevtech.com or just go to our website at ebdevtech.com. um, and if you want to talk business or talk about a bigger project idea or anything like that, you can submit sales inquiries to 832-937-9622, and we'll talk about your ideas today.
We're
All
wrapping
right.
up.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're early today. Take care.
Yes, I thought about then putting up some more slides now.
No, we're good. I just feel like this one's been talked about so much, right? The whole AI space,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
and and I feel like everybody's getting that message. Is and the only thing we have to be worried about is humanity, um, and like focus on the stuff you want, you don't like to do, right? Focus on the things you do want to do, and the stuff you don't want to do, that's the stuff you need to figure out how to use AI to automate, right? Now where you can spend more time doing the stuff that you do like to do.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to say because it's like, well, then that means everything is going to be automated because what someone likes to do, someone else doesn't like to do,
Mm-hmm.
and so now we're just going to automate everything. So what's the point of
Yeah. So can AI classify big amounts of profiles?
just replace everything? No, it
Okay, so
can't.
are we? Do you want to enter into these a specific list of people where you get classified by the profile? Thank you, AI. Where should I go?
There's a movie about that. Hold on. My
Oh,
neighbor, my
I should have
neighbors
asked
told me.
you.
Gotta
I
laugh.
should have asked you about this before.
Hold on.
I think
Uh,
we've been creating that kind of movies for a while now because like Hunger Games is like that. You got you know
what is it?
a classification of people and volunteering. I volunteer.
It's on. Oh, it's called Gattaca.
What?
Gattaca. So
Hmm. What's the
just read
plot?
the. Yeah, let me read that to you guys. Let's see. So, Vincent Freeman has always fantasized about traveling into outer space, but is grounded by his status as a genetically inferior
Ah.
invalid. He decides to fight his fate by purchasing the genes of Jerome Morrow, a laboratory engineered valid. He assumes Jerome's DNA identity and joins the Gattaca space program where he falls in love with Irene. An investigation into the death of Gattaca officer complicates Vincent's plan, and that's the movie.
Is this Avatar? Like,
No,
no? It sounds
no,
like
no, it's
Avatar.
not. It's nothing like that. It's a
Mm.
very literal
If it's a
interpretation.
pre-Avatar though, it's a pre-Avatar. You feel like what's the Jake Sully? Jake Sully could be this guy.
Maybe, yeah. Well, the thing is you're thinking about how does he switch their DNA identity?
Oh
You
well,
need to
that's true.
watch, yeah, yeah. So you need to watch the
Mm.
movie because
Yeah, that's the real
it's a
plot.
very literal sense as to how humans
Yeah,
would share
that he stole the cookies of the computer.
DNA.
That's so
Exactly.
funny.
Something like that.
Mm,
Watch the movie. It's actually a really good movie. I'm glad my neighbor mentioned it to me. Made me think about a lot of things. But yeah, what you're saying has already been in a movie.
obviously,
A lot of what we're
obviously,
talking about has already been in a movie.
it's written
Um,
everywhere. I just condensed it in 17 slides.
there you go.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thank
Well,
you so much, Laura. Thank you guys
thank
for
you.
watching. Again, don't forget to comment, follow, and subscribe if this provided you any value. All right. Take care.
Call us. 10 minutes.
For free.
Yes.
All right, Laura. I'm going to get back to work. There's so much to do.
Me too.